Hello friends, today I'll present on tips on oral presentation. This can be helpful for students, teachers, or other researchers. You can present your assignments, you may present your thesis or proposals, you may present your teaching materials, so it might be important for you. I know most of you know this, but it might be important for reminding you. So to get started as a good presenter, there are recommendations just to dress well. Just when you present to a person, it's better to get dressed well, to be neat, and start with a clear message of your presentation. Start with what you are going to present for your audience and know your topic very well. Outline your presentation, just the subtopics, the subheadings that you are going to present. Think of your presentation as a story. Build a storyline throughout your presentation. Practice your presentation or rehearse your presentation before coming to present. And keep slides and visual aids as simple as possible, as short as possible, and keep an engaging pace and tone. You have to be cautious on which pointers you have to give more emphasis. And so you have to use a tone and eliminate filler words. Usually, as most of us, especially for my Ethiopian friends, we are not good in English, so we may use some filler words like and the likes. So it's better to avoid filler words as much as possible. Use nonverbal cues. So start with your outline. List all the subtopics of the presentation. Like start from your objectives based on your presentation. Let the audience know what they are going to hear from your presentation. So let's outline it and they will follow you based on that outline. Let them know how the presentation will be organized. So how you are going to structure should be shown in the outline section. Backup files, as a general command, there has to be an additional backup file. Whenever you work your work, you need to have additional backup files, like use additional file storage like email. You may upload in your email, you may upload in your mobile, you may send it to a friend if trustful actually, and a hard copy or other options if any. Always carry the text of your paper, just a handout or a printout of your paper. To be sure, send your paper and handout to yourself by email. In case you lose your USB. How to make slides? Just main points only. Present the main points, as PowerPoint implies the powerful points. So present the main points. Only write the main points there in the slide. Then you can explain it very well. One idea per slide is recommended. And strong statements like active voice, better to use active voices rather than passive voices. Apply the same style to each slide. Just the font style limits animations because it distracts the audience's attention. So it's better to limit the amount of animations. And during making a slide, it's better to follow 5x5 rule. It's difficult actually, but let us try to follow it as much as possible. Just short words, few words, it's good. Avoid congestion. So follow 5x5 rule. What does it mean? 5 bullets per slide, 5 words per bullet. This is 5x5 rule. 5 bullets per slide. In one slide, it's good to use 5 bullets, and in one bullet, better to use 5 words. It is difficult to follow this rule, but it's better to try. And avoid the all word slide, like this slide. It's better to avoid this. It is rather disgusting, distracting, how the audience follows. Just assume yourself, you are the audience. I'm presenting this slide. What points can you catch from here? It's difficult to follow. Font style and size. It's better to be following a readable and recommended font style, like Arial, Tahoe, Verdana book. For example, this one is Book Antiquae. A good title size for Book Antiquae is 40 points. Good subtitle for Verdana, 32 points is enough. And content text should be no smaller than 24 points for Verdana, for example. Combining small font sizes with bold or italics is not recommended. And smaller fonts are okay for a footer if we need just as a footnote or subscript, we can use it. Do not use all capital letters. Assume this. Do not use all capital letters in capital letter, which is difficult to read and makes text harder to read. Conceals acronyms. Sometimes we use acronyms or abbreviations. So when we write in capital letter, it confuses the readers or the audiences to consider that as whether it is abbreviation or not. Denies their use for emphasis. So it is better not to use all capital letters. Italics used for quotes, to highlight thoughts or ideas, for book journals or magazine titles, or for scientific names. We can use it for that, but it is not recommended to usually use italics. Color, use a set font and color scheme. Like in black background, use the white colors. But it is better to limit coloration. You want the audience to focus on what you present, not the way you present. So the audience needs to take a message from your presentation, not the way you present. The way you present actually matters. How much your audiences give attention to your presentation. Use the same background on each slide. Yes. Avoid white backgrounds. Usually it's not good. White screen can be blinding in dark room if we use that. And dark slides with light colored text works best. Just like this. Just you can write your comments if you don't use that. Don't use multiple backgrounds. Changing the style is distracting, obviously. Graphs and tables, if you use graphs and tables, make sure that it is readable. But don't use like this table or graph. We usually present such table or graph, and then we display it, and we just pardon the audience that even though this is not visible, we say something about that, which is not the right way. So don't present if it's not visible to you. Better to make it readable and it should be self-explanatory. A table should be self-explanatory. A figure should be self-explanatory. What this figure is about, and it should be understandable, easily understandable. Put any footnotes if there are any abbreviations, if there are anything to be explained, if there are any symbols in the table or figure that are confusing, so just put as a footnote. Before your presentation, make sure you know the content of your presentation well. Show what you know and make yourself understood. Keep to the time schedule. That's practice the presentation. Write notes, but prepare to talk freely, rather than read your written text out loud. So rehearsal is very important. At the beginning of the presentation, it is good to acknowledge the inviters after you have been introduced and prior to the presentation. Think about communication, look at the audience, and maintain eye contacts. Speak clearly, use a microphone if possible to avoid shouting. Do not allow the audience to interrupt, as this can easily distract you. Ask the audience to wait until the discussion. If there is anyone raising a question, that it's better to finish it, and then you can receive questions and then answer. Decide how the presentation will be carried out. Because you are a presenter, you have to decide on that and manage your time. Anytime you have to manage your time. Pay attention to body language, like avoid fumbling, just like this. Avoid this. Make sure there is time for questions from the audience at the end. Remember that no one expects you to be able to answer all questions. Try as much as you can. Don't lie. Don't defend. Better to answer what you know. You may underline the words you wish to emphasize in your text. Make sure that your presentation has a clear structure. What you are going to present should be outlined, as I have said. Make clear what is new and innovative in your research. Present a clear argument with a clear conclusion. Make sure that your handouts or PowerPoint looks professional. It should support your talk, not distract from it. If you are only going to read from the slides, then just send them slides. That is it. So it's better to understand your presentation very well and then say something about that. Explain it. When using a PowerPoint, make sure that you are in control and will not experience any technical or computer problem during your presentation. Even if you read out your text, make sure that you make contact with your audience. You must know your own text almost by heart so that you can look at the faces in the audience. So eye contact is very important. Do not look at your paper at all time. Do not look out of the window. Oh, that's disturbing. So do not look out of the window. Be interested, make eye contact or write down questions, and do not defense or aggressively respond. For difficult questions, try at least to formulate an idea relevant to the question. Do not be shy or annoyed. Formulate unclear questions and try to answer. At last, you have to acknowledge your audience. Appreciate the audience for their attention. Thank you very much for attending, for watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share to others. Thank you.